Hey guys, today we're going to talk about author's craft. I need you to have this sheet of paper out that says author's craft at the top, and it says page 23 at the bottom. You also need to have out your Captain Arsenio text from your My Book, and probably go ahead and turn to page 68. And 68 looks like this. So, just like I did with literary elements, we're going to just kind of do this lesson along with the text and this sheet so you can get it all in one go. So we're going to talk a little bit about author's craft. Let me change a couple pages around here so that I get you all set up. So I've just got a lot of stuff happening on my desk right now. Okay. So, author's craft is the techniques an author uses, such as word choices, literary devices, or narrative style, to make his or her writing strong. So, depending on these things here, voice, mood, anecdote, language, or hyperbole, and I know you can't see hyperbole because of my document camera, there it is. That's what's going to make the reading seem a certain way. Alright? So, an important element of author's craft is the voice. That's what's going to make his or her writing unique. Even the voice, like an author's voice may change depending on the genre of the text. So it could be the same author writing multiple stories, but the voice that they use might be a little bit different depending on what kind of story that it is, okay? So, authors of fantasy and other fiction may create individual voices for their narrators and characters. Each character's voice helps readers better relate to and understand that character. So, maybe the way that they say their words, the way that they talk about certain situations, that's their voice. Okay? It's not the way it sounds, literally how they speak, but like an accent or something like that, but it's just the words that they use. So, characters' voice can be serious, silly, friendly, angry, formal, or informal. Word choice and style help to develop the voice of an author or character. By using silly or unexpected words and descriptions, for example, an author can create a humorous voice. So, a lot of the times you'll read something like the Diary of the Wimpy Kid books, and you'll be like, oh, that was really funny. Oh, I think that this person telling this story is probably a funny guy. So that's the author's voice, okay? So same with mood. You can actually get mood from author's voice. So the emotions and feelings of the reader while reading a text. It can help you understand that if it's a mystery, a fantasy, or if it's an article. So usually like news articles, we don't get a whole lot of humor in those, or mystery. It's a serious or thoughtful type of writing, okay? Anecdotes, these are probably some of my favorites. They're short, funny, or interesting story related to a character or events. So an anecdote is just something, it's going to be funny. It's going to kind of give you that lightheartedness. An example of that is while on a school field trip, a teacher tells her students about a field trip she once took with her classmates. So you kind of get that, oh, I can relate to you. We have this kind of thing going on where you're going to tell me stories. And usually they're fun stories. So, language that's used, vocabulary, specific nouns that someone might choose, sensory words that make you kind of be able to visualize or feel something, and vivid verbs that make the text more interesting. Okay, so each kernel of the buttery popcorn crunched loudly in Selma's mouth. So, it wasn't just that Selma ate popcorn. It's very specific about how she ate the popcorn and what the popcorn was like. So it's the language that's used. And that's really important whenever we're writing in 5th grade, is to think about the language that we use because we want as much description as possible. You also have a hyperbole, okay? Hyperbole is a piece of figurative language. It's an exaggeration that make things way more than what they actually are. Okay, so if I said, that's the best idea I have ever heard in my life, maybe it's not the best idea that I've ever heard, but maybe at that moment I'm like, yeah, I just need this person to know how great that idea really was. So that's a hyperbole. It's not necessarily true. So what I want you to do is thinking about these different things: voice, mood, anecdote, language, and hyperbole. I want you to have out page 23 of your author's craft activity sheet. And then I want you to turn to page 68 of Captain Arsenio. Okay? And it asks us here, let me find my pen. Again, I've got a lot going on over here that I just can't find everything all at once. Found it. Yay. Go ahead and put your name at the top of your sheet of paper, as always. Super important stuff. Again, don't put Miss Fanta. I've actually had somebody turn one of those in before. It was pretty humorous. That was an example of an anecdote. Alright. Says here, author's craft. An author's craft is the way that an author makes his or her writing interesting. It is how he or she uses words, sentences, and other devices to communicate ideas to the reader and to develop a writing style in the voice of a story's narrator and character. A narrator's or character's voice can reveal his or her personality and feelings, and also help the readers relate to him or her. So sometimes if somebody's like really sarcastic, everything that comes out of their mouth, they're just dripping with sarcasm. So, and that's how you kind of like, oh, they want me to understand that this is kind of a sarcastic person that may not be serious all the time. So if we are going to answer the questions about the author's craft on page 68 of Captain Arsenio, we're on this little weird brown colored sheet of paper. And the first question says, what does the phrase obvious results in paragraph 13 suggest about the narrator's point of view? So paragraph 13, let's look at this and just read it together. No one knows what was going through Captain Arsenio's mind when he conceived of this contraption. What we do know is that he placed so much emphasis on getting off the ground that he forgot a substantial part of the matter: how to keep himself in the air. Obvious results. What does the phrase obvious results mean, talking about the narrator's point of view? We know that this is not a first-person point of view story. It's told from third-person point of view. It's somebody on the outside looking in, watching the events of Captain Arsenio and his crazy inventions. So, if you just make this blanket statement, obvious results, how do you think that the narrator is feeling about what's going on in the story? Okay? I'm going to say the phrase obvious results tells the reader, because we don't write in first person normally whenever we answer questions like this, we're going to write it in third person. The phrase obvious results tells the reader that the narrator what? That the narrator what? The narrator thinks. What do you think that lets us know that the narrator believes about Captain Arsenio? Okay, so I want you to fill in the rest of that sentence with what you think that they actually believe. Number 2, what does the scientific language in the diary entry from November 15th, 1785 help you understand about Captain Arsenio? Okay. What does it help us understand? This diary entry says, all past propelling mechanisms were wrong. I need to find a way to beat gravity, despite my generous weight. The compression of 2 metal springs should do the trick. I anticipate a big leap, but I will put little wings on my back just in case. It cannot fail. Captain Arsenio, November 15th, 1785. What does the scientific language in the diary entry help us understand? Okay, so same thing there. The scientific language helps the reader understand, thinking about the author's craft and using this scientific language as the voice of Captain Arsenio, what does that help us understand about Captain Arsenio? Is he a poet? Is he a writer? Is he a scientist? Does he really, really understand physics and gravity? What does it help us understand? That's what I want you to do, is finish what it helps you understand about him, the language that's being used there, okay? So, number 3 and 4, it tells us answer these additional questions about the author's craft. What words can you use to describe the narrator's voice in Captain Arsenio? What words can you use to describe the narrator's voice in Captain Arsenio, okay? So, let's go back over here. Now, it's not just talking about page 68, so you have to think about the whole story. The author's voice may change depending on the genre of the text. Well, this is a fictional piece of writing about this made-up scientist guy. What's the voice like? Is it serious? Is it sarcastic? What goes on with the author's voice? Okay, so that's what I want you to answer here. Is think about the author's or the narrator's voice, and think about the idea how that gives you the mood of the story. Okay, think about, is it funny or serious? And number 4, how does the author use language to contribute to Captain Arsenio's voice? So you've got this idea that this narrator's telling these stories, but then you have these diary entries that are telling us about Captain Arsenio and what he has been doing with his life. Okay, and these actually, I really like this story. It's pretty cool. But even if you look at page 64, you've got another entry here. You've got all these diary entries from what he said on page 60. So you kind of get an idea of what his voice is like. So think about, what mood is he giving you? What kind of vibes are you getting from that? Is it funny? Is it serious? Is it scientific? What kind of voice does he have? Okay, and I want you to just put that in one sentence here. So that's how we complete page 23. If you have any questions, you know what to do. So have a great day.